Hey everyone, my name's Alistair, and welcome back to another episode of The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. Last time was sad. We did Judas, tried to get to the cathedral, probably got about 2 rooms away from the final boss, and died in about 3 seconds to the bloat. I'm still not sure how it happened, but hey. You know, it happens, so this time we're going to try and do it again. Try another cathedral run. We're going to random again. If we get Eve or Lazarus, we'll just quit and start again. Is it going to give us Judas again? Wow. I guess that's okay. We'll take E. coli, because there's nothing else. We're on a labyrinth floor, so we really don't want to take damage at all, because it's going to influence our devil chances. Interesting that we're having to use Judas again, but I guess we'll just have to deal with it. That's tricky. They move quite fast, these wee guys. And we've got to, again, be really careful with our health, because we definitely want to have the devil option after the first floor. Let's see what we've got here. 2 keys, that's nice for the future. Don't really need them right now. I'd kill for a bomb. There's a tinted rock there just on the left. Oh, what's that? Hagalaz. That'll do. I'll take that. Thank you. Again, 1 bomb would be nice, because we'd get, 2. That's quick maths. Where did that go? That was one of the weirdest instances of something getting really big. Like, one of the more recent, like, I'm talking about the Man's Not Hot song that went viral. What was it, like, early 2018 or so? Around that time, maybe late 2017. You've probably seen it. If you haven't, just type in Man's Not Hot, watch it. Comes from, I think, with Charlie Sloth initially, like a Fire in the Booth that was like a comedy skit. But the 2 plus 2 is 4 minus 1, that's 3 quick maths thing. And that was what I was referencing. And that went really big, and then I don't know if it's just I've not heard anything from him since, but the guy who made it, he's called Michael Dappa or something. Like, that's his real name, the comedian's real name. I've not heard much from him yet, and it kind of reminds me of, this often happens on YouTube, doesn't it? Oh god, data miner, what the fuck? I mean, we'll use it, but I don't understand how it works. So, like, another instance was in, oh god, when was it? I can't remember if it was late 2013 or early 2014. I'm thinking late 2013. There was The Fox by, I think it was Ylvis, and it was like on that Norwegian TV show or something. And that was massive for like a few months, and then it just, no one talks about it. It's disappeared completely from like our collective subconscious. It's wild. But Man's Not Hot was pretty interesting. I was amazed that it had the overseas appeal, because like even within UK, there's the Yorkshire coming out. Even within the UK, it's quite hard to understand if you're not from London. I don't know, like it's full of slang that is quite located within quite a specific area. I mean, it's still like more understandable if you're from any other part of the UK than I imagine if you're from anywhere else in the world. But I just thought it was an interesting thing to go so big. But yeah, it was funny. Got to the point where this is a weird offshoot. I've not spoken about music yet. I listen to a lot of music because I'm a human being, and we all do, really. Probably didn't need to use that one in this fight, but I have. I'm into heavier music, amongst all other. I mean, there's not really a genre of music I'm not keen on, but I'm definitely into the heaviest stuff you can think of. I listen to, and there's a German band, which is why I'm bringing this. This is relevant to the Man's Not Hot thing, with a very odd name. They're a good band though. They're called We Buttered the Bread with Butter. Strange, but when they started, they were around that kind of mid to late 2000s weird electronic-y emo metalcore phase. You might know what I'm talking about. If you think like, oh, Basement Boy, I've really not done that until now. bands like it, I'm struggling to think of. The only... Holy fuck. I'll just take Mum's Knife and win the run. The only one I can think of right now is I Set My Friends on Fire, and they're, again, like, not a very good band, in my opinion. Sorry if you're a fan. Like, I like that Things That Rhyme With Orange song, but that's kind of it. But that kind of, like, weird... I don't know, weird's probably not the right word, but, like, a strange style of screams with... Look, right, there's a... Instead of me explaining it, the best way to listen to it, and if you've ever listened to kind of metal or anything, listen to a song by We Butter the Bread with Butter called Der kleine Vampir, which means, like, the little vampire. You'll find it with, like, a bit of Googling. If you just Google vampire, if you've no idea what I said. But you'll see, listen to, like, 2 minutes of that, and you'll get the vibe of what kind of genre of music they were. That is definitely a tangent, not relevant. The thing is, they are a German band who did a metal cover of Man's Not Hot. Which I'd also, I've spoke about them, so you should check it out. Including like the Tingos, whatever, like that whole bit, but kind of like screaming vocals. It's very interesting, but it's just the point I'm trying to make is I found it interesting that there was an appeal for that song, even in like continental Europe. Because I was surprised. I didn't think it would have much of an enduring legacy outside of the UK or even London, that specifically, but interesting nonetheless, no? Mum's Knife's ridiculous. But yeah, they are a good band. They have a song as well called Klicks, Likes, Fame, Geil. We Busted the Bread with Butter still, I'm talking about. Which is pretty good. I'd also recommend that. What else is good by them? I'm trying to think. They've got, Ich mach was mit Medien is also good. I know these are all German song titles, but if you look at their discography, you'll know which ones I'm talking about. So yeah, all decent tunes. Would recommend. It's funny as well. If you speak German, the songs are funny. If you don't speak German, learn German. It's a wonderful language that I'm obsessed with. It's fantastic. I can't get enough of it. German music in general is actually really great. Like I have an interest in languages. I think I've said this before. And please be good. Guppy's tail. Oh yeah, that's good. Should have taken Guppy's head now, but it's fine. It might come back up. But a lot of the music I listen to, maybe 25% is not English. And German music generally is definitely the music I listen to most that isn't English. But there's a lot of good stuff out there. It depends, obviously, like... Oh shit, I've got no health. The German bands... German music I think people most commonly think of. Somehow, there's a weird place somehow that metal bands get big in like the, I've said collective subconscious twice now, but like, you understand what I mean. I'll take this, whatever it is. Gimpy, sure. Where like, most people have heard of bands like Slipknot, right? Which I find really interesting, because I'm not entirely sure why. Slipknot, I mean, their actual first album, their self-titled album, if you will, came out in 1999, I think. Is it self-titled? Something's telling me now it's not. I think it's self-titled. If it's not, it's the one with Sick, Wait and Bleed, Spit It Out, all that. But, like, most people know who Slipknot are, even if they've never listened to a Slipknot song. And I'm not sure where that came from. And the same applies to Rammstein. And I know I'm not saying it, like, with a German accent, but I feel like most people don't. But, like, a lot of people know who they are, which is quite interesting. And I feel like if you ask a lot of people who's the first German band, musician, artist, whatever, that comes to mind, I think a surprising number of people who don't even listen to metal or rock music would say Rammstein. And isn't that fascinating? But no, there's a lot of good German stuff if you know where to look. That's definitely enjoyable, even if you don't speak the language. Rap, kind of hip-hop in particular, as long as you have an understanding of rhythm, which you do, because if you're listening to this, you do speak a language, then you can understand it. I think often that's one of the things that's so amazing about rap, more than other genres. It's like a universal language in and of itself. You can understand and enjoy rhythm and cadence and meter and stuff, all of this, without having any understanding of the vocabulary. So it's wonderful. So a lot of German rap is actually, I think, really, really good. One of my favorite songs, maybe of the last like decade, came out last year by a German rapper called OG Kimo, who I'd really, really recommend. The song, it's the first song off his most recent album. It's called Vorwort, which means kind of like forward, like, but like FOREWORD, like to a book or some shit. It's if you just type in OG Kimo, so OG and then space and then KEEMO. I'm sure I'm not, again, saying his name probably how it's meant to be said, but I'm just saying it how a native English speaker would say it. But that song, I think I've genuinely listened to it every day for the last 9 months. I think it's incredible. Just an amazing song. But yeah, that's a suggestion. I don't know. I mean, I don't want this episode to just be like, here's the German music you should listen to. But I guess the main point is if you don't listen to music from other... I mean, if you're a non-native English speaker watching this video, you almost definitely listen to English language music because we have unfairly dominated the medium. But if you are a native English speaker and you don't listen to much foreign language music, I would really recommend it. It's something that is given a lot of given my music listening a lot of variety, and it's a really interesting way to learn language too. So I learned most of the German I know nowadays through music, through going through songs and basically like going word by word, picking up the vocab and, you know, inherently learning grammatical systems, and it's a really good way to do it. Like for German in particular, like in my first year of university is when I picked up beginner's German, and thankfully my girlfriend speaks quite a good level of German as well. Like studied it at school and had an interest in it outside of, you know, the class and stuff. We'll take Word Babylon. And that was very helpful to have, you know, from like a helpful, well, it was helpful is the point, getting tongue-tied. But like going over songs with her in particular, like from any German music really, it was a variety of stuff. We did some Rammstein stuff, we did Tokyo Hotel, we did Die Ärzte, we did Die Toten Hosen, all sorts. Like it was really helpful. And there's a lot of instances like where I know words specifically and I can tell you which bit of a song it's from because of, you know, having gone and done that. So if you're ever wanting to learn a new language, I would really recommend music as a conduit for that. Really, really helpful. But even if you aren't interested in learning a new language, you're missing out on so much potential music you'd enjoy if you limit yourself to just English. So it's definitely worth checking out. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else in particular, but we'll leave it for now. Yeah, music's good. I think it's actually the first time I brought it up on the channel, which is funny because I don't know. I mean, it's one of the things where I think music is one of the most ubiquitous, kind of like, and relatable parts of the whole human experience. Everyone likes music, really. I mean, yeah, sure, some of you probably don't like music, but like, you know what I'm saying. I mean, most people enjoy music. And I don't know, there's something very relatable about it. Like when someone enjoys the same music as you, that's so like fun. And especially if you like a genre of music or a kind of band or stuff which aren't as 3 cents for that, which aren't as popular or like well known generally, and someone else shares your interest or whatever. That's such a nice thing to happen. I very, very seldom meet other people who are into really heavy music, and when you do, it's always so nice. I ran into someone maybe, when would it have been? It would have been in December actually, who was also into like heavy music, and we ended up having a wonderful chat about a band called Necrophagist, who, again, if you like metal and you've never heard of them, check them out. If you don't like metal and you've never heard of them, probably leave it. They Necrophagist had, they're German as well, funny enough. The vocals are in English, but they have an album called Epitaph, which is and I think, again, this is probably a stupid sentence to someone who's not into the genre, but Epitaph is probably, in my opinion, the best technical death metal album ever made. And I know you're thinking technical death metal, but trust me, it's a thing. There's a lot of sub-genres, and they're all very easy to, split into different things, but I think Epitaph was, 2004? And there's a big kind of joke that Necrophagist haven't made an album since then. And Epitaph was so good. And it's like, what are you doing? So I'd never in my life, I've been a fan of Necrophagist since 2011. Nearly 10 years of my life. And it was only a few months ago that I first got the opportunity to talk about them with someone. I listened to Epitaph, or at least a song from Epitaph, or songs from it, probably about once a week. Like, I really, really enjoy it. If you were going to pick a song, I know that this is just Alistair's music suggestion round, and there's nothing worse than people who, you've not asked for a suggestion and they're telling you. But if you're willing to give Necrophagist a go, then as for songs, I would recommend, from the album at least, we'll go Pentagram. I'm probably going to die again. What am I doing? Why can't I play this game? I'd recommend Stab Wound. I know it sounds bad, but trust me, that's a fantastic song. One of the best metal intros ever. The sweet picks at the start are just fantastic. Only Ash Remains, also brilliant. And again, it sounds bad to say, but I guess it kind of fits the aesthetic of the game. There's a song called The Stillborn One, which is probably the best song on the album in my opinion. Actually, such a banger. I think that's one of the things that makes it difficult to explain metal to people, is that songs have names like this. Like, there's quite a well-known metal band called Dying Fetus, right? And, like, trust me, like, everyone who likes Dying Fetus knows how that sounds. But man, are Dying Fetus good. War of Attrition, man, incredible album. Again, Dying Fetus, I would recommend Homicidal Retribution or Your Treachery Dies With You, both fantastic songs. Wrong One to Fuck With, also great. Oh, that was exactly great. Oh, it's perfect. But yeah, like, and it's a hard sell because the bands have these names. The names don't really mean anything. Most of Dying Fetus's lyrical content is very political in nature. Nothing to do with Dying Fetuses. This might be wrong, so if you do know this, correct me if I'm wrong. I read somewhere once that Dying Fetus, like, they named themselves that when they were like 19 or some shit, trying to be really edgy. And now they're like, oh god, I've never seen this room, but I love it. I don't love it anymore. But four Spirit Hearts in the corner. Okay, I'm losing all the Spirit Hearts I'm taking, but what a wild room that was. But like, yeah, like Dying Fetus doesn't sound good. But if you can get past the kind of name, honestly, it's the music's incredible. They're like okay, here's a statement for you. Dying Fetus are like a 3-piece band, and 2 of them do vocals. John Gallagher in particular is my favorite. He does like the most kind of incredible kind of grunt vocals. It's fantastic. But they're so virtuosic at their instruments. Like, they're incredible players. And they really remind me of like like Metal Rush, if you will. Like how good they are and how whole they make the music sound with there only being, so few of them. The music sounds nothing like Rush's, really. This probably isn't worth it. I've not got enough health. But it just always makes me think of like how incredible Rush as a band are. Obviously Rush are one of the all-time greats, and we recently lost Neil Peart, which is very sad. Definitely, perhaps one of the most important drummers in the history of rock music, or music generally. But yeah, like, I don't know, like in terms of how amazing the music is, and especially like when you see Geddy Lee singing and the stuff he's playing on the bass, you're just like, you're barely human. That's absolutely incredible. And it's a similar idea with the people in Dying Fetus. That's so stupid. But genuinely, best Rush song, you ask? I know you didn't ask. YYZ, of course. I know, it's an interesting one. It's probably my favorite instrumental song of all time, like by like a band which does not primarily do instrumental music, to clarify. I think it's just absolutely, it's an incredible song. Every second of it on every instrument is fascinating. So good. But yeah. It's music, man. This has been the music episode. Probably going to keep being the music episode until the end. Barely even spoken about the game. But yeah, I think it's a really important thing to try and listen to the widest variety of music that you can. Like, I don't like to say that there are any genres I dislike. And if we're being honest, there are some genres that I like less than others, of course. It's the same for everyone. I struggle with very commercialized country music. Like, there's still some I quite enjoy, but generally I find it difficult to get on board with. But that doesn't mean that it isn't inherently good. You know, goodness when it comes to music and taste is just something that we personally ascribe to. I find it very difficult to objectively state or listen to anyone who objectively states that one genre of music is better than another, because it isn't. It's entirely subjective. I think what we have to take into account is that the subjectivity is implied, but it just, you know, sometimes when people say things with such confidence, unwarranted confidence, you know, it's tough not to deride them. Or, you know, view not deride them, but view their viewpoint with derision, because how can you say that music is better, because it just isn't. And yeah, even though like metal and stuff is one of my favorite genres of music, you know, I have to understand why people don't like it, understand that people aren't wrong for not liking it. You know, that's like an important thing to do. Wow, I can't believe it was so close to this. I went the whole other way and it was right there. But yeah, it's an important thing to do, is just to be as open-minded as you can. There's good stuff in every genre. I wholeheartedly believe that. I probably don't need Book of Belial anymore. Sometimes it takes a bit of finding, but a lot of it's to do with just having an open mind, isn't it? Like, I gotta say, like, bands that I was talking about before, like Dying Fetus and Necrophagist and stuff, very few people hear that initially and fuck with it. Most of the time, you know, like, there's kind of what you'd call gateway music. Stuff that's a bit more palatable if you're not used to that kind of idea. A lot of stuff like some gateway bands include bands like Linkin Park, who, you know, have like screaming vocals, but like, you know, not too distorted, but at the same time, you know, elements of hip-hop and rap to bring fans of that genre in, and, you know, like nice melodies to bring fans of normal pop and rock in. Like, they're a great band to get you into other genres of music. You could definitely see someone listening to Linkin Park and then moving on to become a big fan of rap music or of rock music or of, you know, in a lot of people's case, and mine included, death metal. Like, I've always, you know, I've listened to rock music from a very young age, so I've always kind of been used to that kind of sound, but I don't know, like, a lot of the bands that got me into it were things like Disturbed, Avenged Sevenfold, you know, bands where the screaming isn't, or there isn't screaming, but like it still has an element of heaviness. It depends, you know, everyone has a proclivity towards certain genres of music. I think one of the big, I know this is a very scatterbrained little monologue, but I'll really go just from point to point, but a lot of the argument that people have against music, like very heavy music, is that it's too aggressive. And this is an interesting one because, like, I understand the perspective that it does sound aggressive depending on, you know, where you're coming from. But I don't think I've ever really looked at the music I listen to and considered it to be aggressive. It's just music. But like the screaming I find like amazing. I don't find it scary or like, you know. So I understand if people have doubts, shall we say, about the music and, you know, the tone of it. But I guess it all just depends on perspective. One of the Algon record is saying this, I guess. One of my favorite songs, my favorite metal songs ever, is it's a song called Equivalence by a Finnish melodic death metal band called Insomnium. I absolutely adore this song. It's been one of my favorite songs since I was about 12 years old. And it's a song that I wholeheartedly maintain is like beautiful. Like, I think it's really a gorgeous song. It's about just under 3 minutes long. The first half is kind of instrumental build up, kind of just soft guitars, not like distortion or anything, with a kind of whisper in the background. And then the latter half is screaming vocals with the guitars kick in, and it's just gorgeous. And I think sometimes, like, I've never really shared this song with anyone, but I often think, like, I genuinely think the song is beautiful, and it has screaming in it, and I think a lot of people would struggle to reconcile that fact. Maybe I'm just ascribing views to people, you know, without really considering how they'd actually think, but I've had a lot of conversations about people who have been very willing to dismiss screaming as a style of, you know, vocal performance. And do me a favor, if you've never listened to, if you're not into metal in particular, do me a favor and go listen to the song. I'll say it's called Equivalence by Insomnium. And after you've listened to it, or find a video or whatever, find a video with the lyrics and look at the lyrics as you listen to it, and you'll find that the lyrics are not quite what you're expecting to hear. They're, you know, you might find it hard to make them out initially. But I guess the point I was trying to make was, although this music can sometimes sound aggressive, I don't think it is aggressive at heart. And like, songs like that I think are stunning, like really, really gorgeous, even though they consist of exclusively screaming vocals. But I guess it's all just perspective and, you know, how judgmental you are, really. I guess it's just how it's a tricky thing. Like, maybe I caveat too much, but I don't like saying that I don't like things because, well, I don't like saying that things aren't good, sorry. I always want to say that I don't personally like them, but that they still have value. I don't know if it's just an unnecessary bit of, you know, an unnecessary hoop to jump through, but I think it's important to kind of make that distinction because, I don't know, I don't like saying things. Maybe it's just because it's happened to me a lot with, like, my interests in particular. Like, I didn't grow up with anyone really around me interested in the video games I played, like, I didn't have any friends who played JRPGs in particular, and I didn't have any friends who listened to kind of music I listened to, so I guess I've kind of got used to judgment, if you will. It sounds a bit of a sob story, but it's really not. I've been generally perfectly content with that being that way. But I guess part of it just comes down to, like, it can be quite upsetting if people, without really having a knowledge of it, will deride things that you enjoy. So I guess I try not to do that nowadays. Wait. Right, yeah. Okay, we're good. So we did it. We managed to, I mean, we got Mom's knife in, like, the first devil room, so it was an easy run. It was over in, like, 25 minutes. But we finally got that done with Judas. Next time round, I think we'll do another green mode run. Yeah, that was an interesting episode. If you would do me a favor, I've had some episodes where I've talked almost exclusively about the game, and some where I've spoken almost exclusively not about the game. If you could let me know, amongst the other billion things I've asked you in this episode, I'm still learning how to do this, and I guess it's trying to find a balance, right? Half game, half not game. Is that best? What have you enjoyed most? If you could let me know. So yeah, If you have enjoyed, please consider leaving a like or subscribing and comment, because I've told you to. Or don't, it's up to you. And yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.